Hello everyone and welcome to Rob Braces and Rebuilds. Today we are going to be installing a budget exhaust system on the Budget SI. Since you guys seen the car in the last episode, I reinstalled the rear bumper, the rear diffuser is installed, and I went ahead and installed those mud flaps I got from the junkyard. I think I mentioned that many videos ago. Anyways. Got those installed, was able to use the clips from the original filler panel that goes here. So that's all installed and looking nice. It's nice to see it as a car again. But that's not why you guys are here. We're here to do an exhaust system. So as the title will have no doubt said, I picked up the Onaka catback exhaust for the SI Coupe. Now, I know some of you are probably saying, well, it's a budget car, you're trying to keep it under $5,000, why did you go ahead and buy an exhaust? Well, I had never actually planned to buy an exhaust for this car, but when I got under it and I was doing the rust repair, I noticed that our stock muffler here was rotted quite bad. It's busted right out at the seams there, and we've got holes coming through on this side, right there. And it was missing its tip. So it was in pretty rough shape. I didn't want to sell someone a car with a leaky exhaust. And looking at the rest of the exhaust system, there isn't actually any holes in the B pipe, but it's not in amazing shape. It's pretty far gone, to be honest. Like like I said, it's not leaking, but it's at the point where probably a few years down the road it will start leaking. So yes, I could have just replaced the muffler, which would have been the cheaper option, and went that way. But when I looked into it, a muffler was about going to be, by the time I shipped it and bought gaskets and stuff, probably looking at about 250 bucks. Or I could go with the complete exhaust system from Onaka, which is fully stainless and a little bit of a upgrade as far as performance, just due to diameter. And it was 500. So yes, twice the price. But I'm getting an entire exhaust system that will last the life of the car and then some. So I decided, let's try it. The other reason is all the videos I've seen online of the Onaka system on a stock Civic Si are always on the sedan. And I kind of wanted to try the coupe exhaust out for myself, because for those who don't know it is different. And I don't think it's different in a better way. Let me show you. So your sedan exhaust actually has a resonator built into the B pipe. You'll notice this B pipe does not, it's straight through. So we're gonna be down a resonator on the coupe. I don't know why Onaka chose to do that. I don't think it was a wise move in my opinion, because you're going to get that higher RPM rasp, I believe, with the coupe exhaust versus the sedan. And while I realize they are a different car, they are also the same car, if that makes sense. Like, why make two totally different products when all you'd have to do is take the sedan exhaust, cut 2 inches out of it, and it would fit on the coupe. So I'm not sure why they made that choice, but they did. I guess we'll see how it sounds when it's on the car. Like I said, I couldn't find a lot of the videos of it on a coupe, with the exception of Onaka's video. The other thing I don't like about the coupe version is the exhaust tip. Now, it's quite long and it flares out. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad here on the bench. But I think from what I've seen of a few pictures and videos, is it sticks out quite far from the bumper. And in my opinion, that looks awful. It just looks ricey. It looks like someone tried to put a muffler on there, didn't know what they were doing, didn't know how to fit it, and now suddenly it sticks out the back of the car. I just don't think that's a nice fit and finish. Whereas on the sedan, you get a lot more of a subtle, more OEM plus tip, and it sits perfectly flush with the bumper. My buddy actually has one on his FA5 that I autocross with, and his looks amazing. Like, if you were the untrained eye, wouldn't even really notice that it's not stock, and that's what I like. This, you'll definitely notice, is not stock. So if you're buying a Onaka exhaust for your coupe, keep those two things in mind and buy accordingly. Depending on how this sounds, I will let you guys know, but I would almost consider buying a sedan exhaust and having someone cut 2 inches out of it and re-weld it for you, just because I think it is the nicer exhaust. I'm considering modifying this tip to make it shorter, but we'll see how it looks once it's on the car, and then we'll make our decision from there. Anyways, that's enough jibber jabber, guys. Let's get into this install. We obviously got to get the old exhaust off the car. I'm going to take the entire exhaust off and do this on the bench, just because the hardware is going to be fairly rusted. It's going to be hard to separate from the cat, so I'd rather do that on the bench. And since I recently replaced the motor in this car, the bolts that go into the exhaust manifold are brand new, and they're going to come out super easy. So it's just will be the easier way to pull the exhaust right out of the car. Obviously the muffler's already out, and I'll have to pull the center console out so that we can unplug the O2 sensor. But the center console has to come out of this car anyways, because I have an upgrade I want to do to the shifter, and to do an interior detail properly, it's nice to have the console out anyways. So let's get to it. All right, as you can see, we got the exhaust out. And like I said, there is no holes in it. There's no sign of it actually leaking, but it's not far off. She's seen some shit in her day, all right? These nuts are basically non-existent. I would really like to get them off without wrecking the threads on these studs, so I don't have to change the studs, but the likelihood of that happening without an extractor socket is, you know, next to zero. But I might cut this exhaust off right here, so it's easier for me to work on it on the bench, and I can get on those nuts more squarely. Like I said, I have no use for that anyway, so obviously we just want to take the hangers off because we'll be using those on the new exhaust. And this cat is missing half a heat shield, and this other half is kind of rattly, so I might cut that off too, so we're not listening to that. But yeah, I'm going to accessorize here for a few minutes, decide what I'm going to do, and then you guys will see what I'm going to do, okay? As you can see there, I just cut these off. I did try heating them and hammering on a smaller socket, but it was no go, sadly. So I had to cut those off. Now I will have to hammer them out of there. You'll also notice the heat shield is off. I did cut that off camera. And obviously the remainder of the exhaust that you're not seeing, I cut that off too. So we need to hammer out these studs, and then I need to either see if I have something I can replace them with, or I'm gonna have to do a run to the hardware store before it closes so that we can actually get this exhaust on today. All right guys, I got those studs hammered out, and I went through my bolt bins, and I found some hardware that'll work. They're just the factory 14 mil, about 1.5 1.25 long, and then I don't know, just some random nuts. They're all the same, they're flanged. As you can see, they will work great. This is why we keep hardware from old part outs, old projects, whatever. Keep your hardware. It will save you. It saved me a bajillion times, and it'll probably save me a bajillion more times. Anyway, I'm not gonna actually bolt this on just yet. I'll do it under the car because I don't really know which orientation it's supposed to be in. So I'll figure that out under there. But I think, barring that, I'm ready to put the exhaust on. If you did watch the last episode, you know I've been undercoating this car with fluid film, and I ran out, so I went and actually bought more. And right now is a perfect opportunity with the exhaust out is to fluid film that entire exhaust tunnel area. Like, it just gives me way more access not having the exhaust in there, and I don't have to worry about it dripping on the exhaust as much and then stinking when I start the car. So I'm going to take a few minutes, get that done, and then we will throw the exhaust on. Okay, I just put another full can of fluid film under the car. I did the exhaust tunnel, I did the body seams, I did up around the tank and the torque boxes. I'm still going to put the other can on the car, but that's the area I need done so that I can put the exhaust back on. I did also install the catalytic converter again, so it's in there loosely. And now I'm going to install the muffler. I have not installed the B pipe. It's over there on the over there on the couch, and the test pipe thing. I want to install the muffler and test fit it and just see what this tip is going to look like, and then we're going to decide if we're going to modify it. Side note, when you're putting on the hangers, this one went on absolutely fine, but this one was a freaking nightmare. These pins are so far apart with the way they're bent that it's not easy to spread it on there. What I ended up doing was using a screwdriver, put it through the hole of the rubber, put it on here like this, and then bent it over and got it to pop on. It was tough. I actually tried to heat up the bracket and bend it, and then I burnt my finger and got mad, so gave up on that. Anyway, let me throw this in the car and we'll see how it looks. So that is currently pushed all the way forward on the mounts, and it's not bad. If it was in a touch more, I'd be happy. But what we gotta remember is the rest of the exhaust is not on the car yet. And the length of our B pipe and our test pipe might push that out farther. And if it does, I'm not gonna like it. So I guess let's get those mocked up and see how it looks. Okay, I've got the full exhaust mocked up. I don't have any gaskets in it, but I have it bolted just snugly at each flange. And that's how it's sitting. And actually, I'm not displeased with that. Like, you can see it here, it's not sticking out. Some of the ones I've seen, it looked like it was sticking out so far. And it still does. From this, from this perspective, it looks like it sticks out a lot. Standing at the back of the car. Yeah, I don't know, it does definitely stick out. But I think I'm gonna leave it. I just think it would look better with like ½ an inch trimmed off of it. My only worry is, I think it's rolled, so if I trim ½ an inch off, the rolling might not, won't be attached, so I'll have like a weird gap, which is why I kind of want to leave it. One thing I will say about the coupe exhaust, because I've mostly been negative about it to this point, is it seems to have better height fitment. The sedan exhaust on my buddy's car hangs quite low, like it's very noticeable under the car. And this one isn't bad. You can see it, obviously, it's bigger piping, but it's pretty tucked up there. I would say it's no lower. Actually, I think it's higher than the Cat. I think the Cat is actually lower, so maybe a touch back there where it bends, it's a touch lower, but it ain't bad. Pretty happy with that. All right, I will put all the gaskets in, torque everything up, and then I'll give it a wipe down with some isopropyl or something just to get my fingerprints off of it. If you care about that sort of thing, before you ever burn in your exhaust, you want to make sure it's perfectly clean, because any grease or whatever that you leave on it will probably be permanent once it burns in. So if you're particular with how your exhaust looks, I'm not saying that I am, but I might as well take the extra 2-minute step to clean it so that it does stay nice. Anyways, I'll get back to you guys once it's bolted together, and then we will start this thing up and see how it sounds. Obviously, I can't drive it. It's not in a streetable condition yet. The brakes are not bled. I haven't done an alignment. Haven't tightened any of the bushings since lowering it, so like I still have a lot of work to do before we can drive the car. But we'll be able to start it up, hear it, and then in the future I will do an actual sound clip video for you guys. No talking or bullshit, it'll just be cold start, warm start, we'll do some revs, we'll do some pulls, and yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay, catch you guys in a second. One other thing I forgot to mention quick that I think is noteworthy. I showed you guys that I dug out hardware from my own bins earlier, but I had no need to. Yonaka actually includes enough hardware to replace the bolts in the catalytic converter, which is nice of them. I don't know that all exhaust systems do that, so kudos to them for that. Anywho, I'm gonna get back to installing. I just wanted to mention that before I installed the bolts and you couldn't see them. All right, gents, she's on and looking pretty good. I just did the wipe down of it, and it's definitely the nicest part about the car. The fitment is quite tight around the camber arm back here, but we got to remember that it's at full droop right now, and it's actually not touching, but it is close, so once it's underweight, it'll be fine. But yeah, the tip is not exactly what I like, but it is good enough that I don't need to screw with it, so I'm happy. Happy, happy, happy. Pretty happy with the fitment of that exhaust, honestly. For 500 bucks, all the gaskets, all the hardware, it fit up with no issues. It was a little tough to snake the muffler in there, but no big deal. And the hangers for the muffler isolator were a little tough, but I mean, these are very minor things when you consider the price for a full stainless exhaust. So let's see if I'm happy after we start it. See what it sounds like. Okay, here goes cold start. You'll notice there is a little puff of smoke as I just started it, but I realized the camera was on time warp mode. So, cold start, take 2. Nice deep tone to it. I'm gonna get under and check for leaks. No leaks, so we're good. And we'll have this thing warm up and then we'll give it a few. See how it sounds. Do like a few blips up to 3,000 or 4,000.
Right now?
Yep. Sounds pretty good, actually. All right. It'll rev limit at 5,500, so let it bounce off rev limiter for a second or two. I might need to put a resonator on though, that's loud. Give me like a couple 3,000 or 4,000 like pop. That sounds cool. Very loud. With the exhaust done and installed, we only have one more thing to finish it off, and that is this little license plate frame they include with the exhaust. And I've got these hokey pokey little skunk 2 fender washers, so we're gonna crossbreed some brands there and throw that on the back. See how it looks. I like that. Much better. Alrighty fellas, and with that is the wrap on this video. Like I said, we will do a future video that is just purely sound clips of pulls and revs and cold starts and this and that and the other thing. But let me know what you guys think of the Yonaka exhaust. Do any of you have it for your coupe or sedan? I think I prefer the sound of it on the sedan because it's resonated and it's definitely a little more mild. This is pretty spicy sounding, I won't lie. But we're also revving it up inside the shop here, which probably does make it sound different, make it sound louder anyway. So I'm curious to actually get it out and test it and see what I think. If it is too much, I will take it to a shop and have a resonator put in there, and that should maybe dial it back a bit, but won't know till I drive it. So I think that's going to be it for this video though, guys. So hope you enjoyed, and I appreciate you watching if you watched this far, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.